Hello lovelies, I'm going to demo swords and shields for you so you can see how you're going to play. I'm going to do it in its most simple and basic form, but you should be able to see how the game plays. Now this is the deluxe hard copy. It's very expensive, I understand that, I realise that. That's because we're doing print on demand, and for board games that gets ruinously expensive very quickly. So that's pretty much the lowest we could charge and have it still return something, but we're not making much at all off that one. You can also get it as a print on demand booklet where the cover, you can detach the cover and you can cut out the pieces and the boards and you can play it from that, or you can buy the PDF version which you can download, print out, cut out and then play using that. I think it would make a great game as a sort of chess substitute in a fantasy game. You know, we have card games that people have created for fantasy games, we have board games that people have created for fantasy games. There's Kaiser in Gore, for example. There's various board games and card games that people have come up with within the context of fantasy games, and I think Swords and Shields would make a very good version of that. Anyway, the deluxe version comes in this nice shiny card box, as you can see. If you open it up, you get these hard, thick cardstock boards, which are double-sided, just in case you, I don't know, spill coffee or whatever on one side. As you can see, quite thick. Here's a Lego dude for scale, in case you think I've got giant hands or anything. So you get a handful of those. You will also get printed instructions. This was a proof copy, and you get these neat little tiles. These are hard plastic, laser cut, thick. They've got a good feel and weight to them, almost like mahjong tiles. So I do think the quality, if you want a really good version, is worth paying out for. So I'm going to set up the simplest of games using a single board. Standard game is usually 4 boards put together, but you can also configure the boards in other ways if you want to do peculiar games, or you could print out more boards and more counters and whatever else you wanted. But let's set up for a very simple game. So I'm going to use a single board and I'm going to use randomized tiles just to show how the game plays. Okay, so we're set up with a single board. Lego guy's still here for scale, just in case you need it. I'm going to use the single board and randomized tiles, which is probably the simplest way you can play. So whichever one I draw first, that's the colour that's going first. Okay, we have a red tile, so the red player is the first player. Swords attack, and if you take a line from a sword off the edge of the board, that's how you score a point. Shields block, and they block in the direction that they're pointing. So ideally we want to score points and block score. So this corner is a very good place to go. That's 2 points that can't be blocked, and it blocks any blue attacks down those 2 lines. Blue card, 2 attacks. If I go there, I'll be blocked there, I'll score 1 point. If I go here, I can potentially score 2 points, but that one's going to be extremely vulnerable. If I went there, it would be blocked there. Ideally, I think I do want to score that point and threaten that other line. I could do that to threaten 2 lines, but they're both blockable. While that would tie up the red player's go, I think I want to score at least 1 point to be in the game. The red player here has 3 swords, potential for 3 points or more. You can play it so your shields block your own attacks, or you can decide that they don't. Let's play with the shields blocking any attack that meets them. So that would block my own one. If I go this way, I'm going to score on that line, and potentially score on that line. So that seems like a good place to go. Blue player has a shield and 3 swords. We don't want to block our own. We do potentially want to score. So here we have 2 points and another line of attack there. So potentially we can score in 2 directions there. Red has a double block. Now where can we put that to be useful? Well, here we can block one attack but not both. That's wasted because it goes off the edge. So if we do it this way, then we're controlling the board a bit more. Blue has 2 shields and a sword. That middle line's pretty much done for anyway. This way, perhaps, potentially we can score there. Red tile has 2 attacks. That would be 1 point, that would be blocked. Anyway, I put it there, something's going to be blocked. Can't face that way. Here, I'm threatening both spaces with a potential score. Blue gets another block. We can block that one. Red gets one more go. Whatever we do here, we can't get our full potential. That will block 2 that way, so I think we're just going to have to snooker ourselves there. Even though it doesn't score anything, it preserves the points there. Right, so lastly that brings us to the scoring. So, this tile scores 1 point there and isn't blocked on that line, so it's 2 points. Blocked, 3, 4, 5 points for blue. Red, nothing there, blocked, 1, blocked, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. That's how the game is played. Highest number of points wins. You can vary the rules lots of ways, any way you want to, whether it's you can pick the tiles that you use, draw them randomly, a mix of them, have one blank and turn it over at the end, that sort of thing. So you can kind of customize it as you go along, like almost like a game of poker, really. So instead of saying ace is wild, you might say shields block in both directions, or both sides shields block, or only the opposite side shields block, so on. There's endless customizability and different ways to play. You can even play one board at a time and then lay out the next one and carry on play that way. There's so many different ways to play, and it would make an excellent addition to anyone's fantasy game as a game that is played in your fantasy world. And you can imagine all kinds of handcrafted tiles, or even figures with swords and shields pointing in different directions, that sort of thing. Yeah. Now, as I said, you can pick it up. Unfortunately, the deluxe edition, which is this one, is rather expensive, but I do think it is worth it just for the sheer tactile feel of everything. You can get that from the Game Crafter. Just search for Postmortem Studios and you should be able to find Swords and Shields, no problem. You can also buy it direct from my own site, not in the hard copy version, but in downloadable print and play. That's post-mort.com. If you go to lulu.com and search for Postmortem Studios and or Swords and Shields, you should be able to find it, and that's the hard copy cut out and play version. As I said, what you've got there is all the pieces are printed on the cover, which is thin coated card, so it should be quite durable. Remove the cover, cut those out, instructions are on the inside, and then you can play that way. That's the cheapest, best option compared to printing at home, I think, because paper pieces just don't quite work as well. Anyway, I hope you're interested. I hope you can see the potential. If anyone out there is interested in mass producing this game to a higher quality standard and getting it into stores and so on as a board game, then please do get in touch. Zach.